Guys, I'm ice cold so far. 0 for 2. I mean, it's ridiculous that there were 2 games already. But, yeah. Week 1 predictions. All the Sunday games. I'll give you everything I got. Hopefully, if I go 0 for 16 this week, guys, I don't know what I'm going to do. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Hope you guys enjoy every single one of these picks. I will be going through every game that'll be happening today, and today. I'll be giving you guys my picks along with what's going on with every single one of these games. It is the kickoff week, kickoff Sunday, which again is one of my favorite Sundays in the entire season. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be awesome, and I hope there's not Tyreek Hill doesn't get pulled over again. With that said, though, the first game we'll be going through today, and you'll see how each one of these predictions works as we go through this first one. Is probably one of the worst games of the week. I'll be honest with you guys. You'll see why in a second. But yeah, we got the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah. Again, the Dolphins, they got rid of a lot of their talent. Teron Armstead, their left tackle, retired, who'd been there a couple of years now. On top of that, Tyreek Hill, we all know, is not coming off the greatest season. But considering last year he scored an 80-yard touchdown and then, handcuffed himself this time last year, again, after getting pulled over by the police right before the game started. I don't know. Maybe this game goes crazy. Jalen Waddle's not coming off a good year. We'll get to him in a minute. But this is the Dolphins team that is going to need a spark and a pretty big week 1 win if they're going to want to move forward here to start the season. Colts. Where do I even start? They got a defense that has some pretty solid players, but no one that really pops off the screen. I mean, they got some, again, like I said, the good interior defensive lineman, but no one that pops off the screen with me. I don't even want to get into the quarterback situation. We all know what that is. How do you lose to Daniel Jones in a quarterback battle? Okay. But again, Jonathan Taylor's there. He'll probably get a lot of carries today. This should be a good matchup for the Colts. I mean, again, there's definitely worse matchups for them in week 1. But at the same time, this team coming this season that a lot of people don't think are good, and that their head coach changed seconds and get fired pretty early. We'll see if that actually happens. Anyway, though, the last time the Dolphins and Colts play, I can't even tell you when it was. Was it 2023 maybe? I'm just gonna look at it. Dolphins Colts. I can't tell you the last time they played. Let's see. No. History. We're going to do their history because I really can't tell you guys. Like, I have no idea. Let's see the last time they played. It was 2021. Oh, it was last year. I'm a brick. Well, the last time they played was in India actually last year. That was Big Tony's game. But yeah, the Colts won 16-10. The Dolphins really didn't have anyone playing. And Tyreek Hill, obviously Jalen Waddle there, but Snoop Huntley was their quarterback. That was not ideal for the Dolphins. But again, they also played in Miami in 2021. That's what I was actually remembering. But anyway, this is not, again, this crazy matchup or anything like that. With that said, though, this game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS. Again, all your channel packages. Paramount Plus as well, NFL Plus. Again, in your local area, I think. And then also, you can watch, I guess, on Red Zone as well. So, again, nothing crazy with there. Announcing it, though, via Reddit. We're using Reddit now. Again, awful announcing, I guess, is on a hiatus. We got Andrew Catalon, Charles Davis, Jason McCourty, Andrew Ross, which I think is CBS's 4th team now, so I guess technically it is a B game. Probably a 5th C game in terms of, again, we're talking about the 3 levels of it. Outside of that, though, coverage map-wise, it's, again, if we see, it's the blue, so again, it's, again, all Florida, basically, and then, again, the Indy area, again, part of the Illinois as well, but nothing really crazy. So, again, not much coverage for this game. Outside of that, though, we look at the Dolphins starting lineup, 2 at quarterback coming off a season where he wasn't really that healthy. Zach Wilson is the new backup. Devon Achane's there. Jalen Wright injured. Ollie Gordon going to get a lot of reps as the backup. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington, Nick Westbrook, who again lost that job for the 3rd receiving spot. After coming in from Tennessee, he will probably get some targets anyways. Darren Waller's out for this game. This is not good. Julian Hill and Connor at tight end. Again, obviously a lot of Alec Ingold as well. Fullback. The offensive line is very suspect, but Austin Jackson, the right tackle, is looking to have a little bit better season than we've seen the past 2 seasons. Patrick Paul, again, is a second-year left tackle looking to improve immensely. Jonathan Savania is a very promising left guard with Liam Eichenberg, I think, on the PUP list, if I'm not mistaken. Aaron Brewer is the center with James Daniels, the right guard, being questionable. Again, we'll see if he can get out there. Defensively, I mean, there's no real injuries. Again, the cornerback room is really questionable. The only guy that's actually established is Russell Douglas and Jack Jones. They just brought in Russell Douglas. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips basically coming off seasons where they really weren't much of a factor. Bradley Chubb didn't play at all. Zach Sealer is an absolute demon, though, with Chop Robinson looking to build off of a monster rookie season. Matthew Judon I brought in as well. Outside of that, though, the Minka and Jalen Ramsey trade, nothing really crazy going on there. Riley Patterson's their kicker. Jake Bailey's their punter. Then when we move over to what's going on in Colts land, Daniel Jones will get the start for week 1. Who knows how long he'll play. I honestly could see Riley Leonard out there at some point. Jonathan Taylor, running back. Tyler Goodson is now the backup. He's questionable. DJ Giddens, we'll see if he gets in there. And then Utellis Bentley, who really knows. Receiving wise, same big three as last year. They're not really a big three, though. None of them are really proven to be an established receiver, but I bet Josh Downs will have a massive season. Adonai Mitchell had a really bad rookie season. He's going to look to, I don't know, maybe get some targets. Tyler Warren, Mo Cox, tight end. Bernard Raymond's, again, a fantastic left tackle. Quinn Nelson's one of the best guards in football. Braden Smith is a great right tackle. Tanner Bortoloni and Matt Gronkowski are trying to prove themselves there at center and right guard. Defensively, Kwity Paye and Leite Lato get a lot of reps off the edge, but Samson Ebby comes looking to reestablish himself as his team's true number one edge rusher. Tyquan Lewis is also a solid option. Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, huge run stoppers. Really, DeForest Buckner, though, more of their pass rush there. Cameron McGrone is a solid will linebacker, but Zaire Franklin's the only actual good player. And again, Joe Bachi's also there. Secondary suspect, they just brought in Xavier Howard for some veteran play. I don't know where, what's his name is, Juju Brents. I think he's out the season. Cam Bynum, Nick Cross there. Daniel Scott has not played an NFL snap yet after getting drafted in 2023. Rodney Thomas is also there with Kenny Moore in the slot. Spencer Schrader, Rigoberto Sanchez, punter. Then, Nick Cross looking to have another good season. With that said, that's all I got for that. And again, before we get our pick, how entertaining do I think this is a game? This is also new to NFL previews. Again, if you didn't watch them, if you watched this last year, this is a new part. I will be tier ranking every single game on basically how entertaining I think it'll be. To be honest with you guys, I'm going to actually put this, again, a lot of people put this in boring. I'm going to say this Dolphins-Colts game will be entertaining, or at least decent. I want to put an entertaining because I think some ridiculous stuff will happen, but let's be honest, guys, this is not going to be good football, especially with it being week one. But I think there will be some ridiculous stuff that happens that will top the NFL highlights by the end of tomorrow when I do my NFL highlight recap of all the games. So that's what I'll say there. But anyway, outside of that, again, the actual pick for this game, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. If you're a Dolphins team, again, if you're not trying to get your head coach fired, or if you're not trying to get fired, if you're Mike McDaniel, you'd probably want to win this game. I'm going to say they win this one, an ugly one, 22-13. That's all I got for you guys for this one. Let's get to our next game, which is, I guess, a little bit better. Our next one is a battle between two teams that are actually in a pretty similar situation, being the Raiders and Patriots. Again, both teams are coming off less than desirable years, both only winning 4 games last season. Both teams firing their head coach. Well, really not the Raiders, but they brought in Pete Carroll. Patriots, again, they brought in Mike Vrabel. Both former coaches that have been higher seeds in the playoffs, again, with the Titans for, again, Mike Vrabel, and, again, the Seahawks with Pete Carroll. He's also won a Super Bowl. Despite both those coaches having success, they're coming into teams that, again, like I said, have not been great. One team has a very promising quarterback, again, in Drake May, who's looking to have really just take the NFL by storm this season. While for the Raiders, Geno Smith comes in from the Seahawks in that trade. He's an established NFL quarterback who's a solid guy in Seattle for now 3 years running there. But at the same time, that's a team that lacked success in the play, or really just even getting the playoffs. Again, even though they were really close the past couple of years. But again, is Geno that guy? We'll see in this one. Again, should be a pretty decent matchup just because, again, the competitive nature between both these teams. Expect a lot of running, expect a lot of physicality. Outside of that, though, again, the Raiders have some pretty cool things going on. We'll get to their storylines in a second. But again, we look at the last time these teams played in what is called New England, at least. That was back in 2020, I think, actually. And the Patriots won that one 36-20. That was when Cam Newton was their quarterback. Then we look at another recent matchup. That was in 2022, when, again, that was a famous game where, Jacoby Myers, he's now on the Raiders, threw it back to Chandler Jones, who is no longer in the NFL, if you know. And again, that ended pretty fun there. Outside of that, I don't think... No, they also played in 2023. That was Brian Hoyer. He started that game. It was just not really good football. Neither one of those teams were very good that season. Outside of that, though, this game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS. NFL Plus, Paramount Plus will be your streaming services for this game. Again, if you have NFL Plus, again, in local area, specifically for that. I don't want to get anyone pissed with a blackout. Weather, though, considering it's a weather... it's outside in Foxborough. Again, expect some rain. It's going to be a little bit windy, nothing crazy, though. And again, it's also going to be humid considering it's the first week. 62 degrees, like I said. And then, again, we look at the announcers for this game. You do have Spiro Diaz, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kingobala, which, I mean, it could be worse. In terms of the map, it is going to be in green. So you got a decent amount of the West Coast getting this one, as well as some other random areas. I don't know why all the Northwest. Again, it makes sense. Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. But again, all New England's getting this game, basically. And again, we look at how good I actually think this game is. Before we do that, we got to get into this. All right, Geno Smith, the quarterback. Again, like I said, I already talked about that. Kenny Pickett was traded from the Eagles to be, again, his backup there. Ashton Jeanty Raheem Mostert in the backfield. Again, Zamir White getting carries. Again, probably pretty unlikely. Jack Beck is a better receiver than Dante Thornton, but he did not play well in preseason, so, that's what happened. Trey Tucker's your number 2 receiver is really concerning, but again, Jacoby Myers there. Ashton Denty, like I said, rookie debut. If you have him in fantasy, yeah, you probably want to turn this game on. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer at tight end. They will both get targets. They are their, again, really those are their own 3 receiving options. Again, yeah, I got Genty there, but you're going to want to run the football with him. O-line, not really the highly thought of this offseason. There's not a bad group, though. Charles Grant was a solid pick by them. But you got Colin Miller, DJ Glaze, new starting right tackle. Jackson Powers-Johnson, thank God, won that job at right guard. Jordan Meredith is a better center than people will give him credit for, and Dylan Parham has been about average left guard so far in his career. Max Crosby, superstar edge rusher, coming back from that injury that I think week 12 last year, week 13. Malcolm Kuntz, coming off an injury, we didn't play all last season. Tyree Wilson, probably a prove-it year to say the least. Jonah Lau is going to look to make an impact. Adam Butler is the right or their defensive tackle as well. At will, you got Jermaine Pratt coming over from the Bengals, who was cut in his contract dispute. Landon Roberts, Devin White also there. So it's a very interesting defensive line that was completely revamped. Jamal Adams. Whoa. He's not a linebacker, which he probably should have been a couple years ago. Darian Porter, very fun cornerback. He only played 1 year, actually, at corner for Iowa State, and he's one of the most athletic and lengthy corners, at least profile-wise, in the entire NFL. Watch out for him. Eric Stokes, Darnay Holmes rounded the cornerback room with Isaiah Paul-Amal and Jeremy Chin. At safety, you got Daniel Carlson and A.J. Cole there as well. For the Patriots, Drake May, sophomore season, looking to, again, be a little bit more productive than we saw last year. Ramondre Stevenson, again, the very highly touted Travion Henderson, who a lot of people drafted way too high in the fantasy, are going to look to see what he can do. Stephon Diggs is their new number 1 receiver coming from Houston. Demario Douglas and also Kayshon Boutte are there. Kayshon Boutte is a better player than Demario Douglas. I'll stand on that for a while now. Hunter Henry, Austin Cooper, the only 2 tight ends in the roster, makes sense. Jack Westover is the fullback. He will be getting a lot of lead blocking assignments this week. Will Campbell debuting in the number 4 overall pick of left tackle. I don't know if he'll play, though. There were some sketchy things with him, especially with that ankle issue he's dealt with for most of the offseason. Again, it'll just be interesting to see what he can do there. I think it's the ankle, right? Yeah. I'll see what Will can do, though. Jared Wilson, wait, what? Oh, God. Oh, no. That's not good. Layden Robinson being on IR, I understand that, but that's just not good. What even happened to Layden? What the hell? I'm so confused. Look out for left guard. Again, they cut Colin Strange. Garrett Bradbury's the center. Mike Onwenu and Morgan Moses. Again, 2 really reliable vets. Really just Mike Onwenu in terms of health, though. Not even that. Christian Barmore, superstar, interior defensive lineman. William Williams got a huge contract to probably not even play that well. Curtis Tunga is the nose tackle. Keon White is coming off a monster season. Harold Landry is not going to be the number 1 pass rusher, but he has been that in the past in terms of an actual role. Antonio Jenkins will definitely be out there in running, stopping situation. Caleb Chason is also part of this rotation. Robert Spillane and Christian Ellis are the linebackers with Carlton Davis. Christian Gonzalez is not going to be playing this one. I'd probably say Charles Woods, if he's healthy, will play. Alex Austin, I don't know if you want to give him the start. I'd probably say Corey Ballantyne over him just because of experience reasons. Marcus Jones, Craig Woodson's buried in the depth chart. He's a rookie as well. Jalen Hawkins, be out. Jabril Peppers for the starting spot. Kyle Duggar got benched as well because of the new scheme that the Patriots are running on defense. Still don't know why they're trying to do that. Gerard Mayo cooked Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers there. Don't really know what's going on there. But Del Puttis is starting. Yeah, they're probably better in coverage than Kyle Duggar overall, but I really don't care. He's the best run defender in this entire defense, to be honest with you guys there. Andy Borgels and Bryce Behringer are also there. Again, in terms of the actual entertainment value of this game, it's not the greatest. I honestly think it'll be a boring game. Again, there's definitely some good storylines with this one, but it's not one of those games that I'm definitely going to be, really trying to watch. As well as the fact that I think with the weather, it's just going to be a game that I think will be a lower scoring. And just won't be the greatest. With that said, though, for this game specifically, I'm going to actually say the Patriots get out to a good start this season and start out with the win. I think they'll limit Ashton Genty. There won't be many big plays, and I think it'll be a game that'll come down to the turnover battle, which I think will be in their favor. For that reason, I'm going to say they win this one 19-16 in what should be a somewhat competitive game, but I don't really see it being much of one that I'd want to turn on unless something crazy happens. Who knows, though? That's all I got there. Now let's get to a game that is, I guess, okay. Moving on to our last CBS game that isn't going to be on national TV this week. That is the Cardinals and the Saints. Cardinals coming off a season where they had an opportunity to make the playoffs after starting out 6-4 going into their bye week. Then they kind of fell apart. Their offense was very inconsistent, if not really bad at times. And what ended up happening was them having a winner-go-home game against the Panthers in Week 16, which, again, was not a very good team last year, if you remember. They weren't terrible at the end, but they still weren't having a good season at all. They lost that game. Chuba Hubbard owned them, ran all over them. Then they blew a game where they could have stopped the Rams from making the playoffs in Week 17. And then, they just garbage time won in Week 18 to boost up the stats. That really doesn't matter here. This is a team that coming into this year, they need to do something, specifically Kyler Murray. There is an out in his contract after the season. I'm not saying that the Cardinals would want to take that specifically, but considering this team has not won a playoff game since Carson freaking Palmer was their quarterback back in 20, what was it? Yeah, they haven't won a playoff game since actually 2016. That is actually insane. It's going to be 10 years by the time we win a playoff game. Only one playoff appearance again with Kyler Murray quarterback. That was 2021 where they get absolute booty spanked by the Rams. Again, on the Rams' way to winning the Super Bowl. Again, Jonathan Gannon, I don't think Gannon isn't a bad head coach, but again, they're going to have to win games at some point. It's that simple. Outside of that, though, for the Saints, this is, again, they were literally, they're last in my power rankings. Again, go watch the Week 1 power rankings. I do recommend that. But, yeah, Saints were absolutely last in my power rankings. And there's a reason for that. Quarterback situation is about as bad as you can get in a lot of ways. I mean, there's definitely worse ones, I guess. But, yeah, it's not good. This is a team that lost their last, 5 games even? Derek Carr retired. Again, it's just not 4 games. That's how many they lost at the end of the season. Just not a very good situation for the Saints. They finished with 5 less wins for the first time in a really long time. Again, team that's just they're heading towards the toilet. We all know that. They're probably, again, they are my worst team in football right now. So yeah, not really much going on there. Again, and the fact that, again, they have a lot of young players and then a lot of old players, not really a good combination. Still in cap hell, which, again, I still can't completely conceptualize. There we go. Something I got to figure out. With that said, though, this game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS, NFL Plus, Paramount Plus, are your streaming services for that game. Again, local restrictions and all that. But outside of the fact, again, these two teams haven't played in New Orleans since 2019. That's actually crazy. Saints won that one 31-9. That was back in the Drew Brees days. I don't think they've actually played since 2022, if I'm not mistaken. In that game, the Cardinals beat the Saints. What was it like? It was a bizarre game. I can't even tell you what the final score was. 41 to Cardinals Saints 2022. It was 34 to 42. Yeah, that was an actually insane game. Andy Dalton was still their quarterback. History. How they played since then? I can't tell you they have. Right? No, they haven't. Yeah, they haven't played in 3 years. Outside of that, though, announcing this game, it's again the worst game for CBS this week. It's Tom McCarthy, Ross Tucker, Logan Ryan. Oh, Logan Ryan, what the heck? And Tiffany Kaufman. Blackman. I don't know what CBS's big thing with 3-man teams is, but that's what they got in the broadcast booth. Map-wise, yellow, so you got Arizona, and then like down in the bayou. Again, if you're not in this area, well, too bad. Watch it illegally or something. I don't know. I'm not promoting that, but I mean, if you got to do what you got to do, I guess. Cardinals starting lineup. Nothing really much changed from last year. I mean, like, what am I going to say? Greg Dortch is a better player than he was last year. Trey Benson's better. They brought in Jacoby Brissett to be the backup. Marvin Harrison's got to be better. I don't know. Trey McBride's there. O-line is literally the absolute exact same, except Will Hernandez is out for this one. Across the board. They really didn't do much in this offense to really get better, to be honest with you guys. Defensively, though, Josh Sweat was brought in from the Eagles to be their number 1 edge rusher. Is he that? Don't really know. Darius Robinson does have the potential to be that. It's like a pretty underwhelming rookie season. Jordan Burch will be fun to watch as he moves out of the 3-tech. Again, where he played at Oregon last year. Calais Campbell is still playing. That's actually insane. Moves more to a defensive tackle role, though. Dalvin Tomlinson's also there. They brought him in. Akeem Davis-Gaither coming over from Cincinnati. I think he was here last year, though, if I'm not mistaken. So I might just be a casual for that one. No, I'm not. He was there last year. Just making sure. Mack Wilson is their middle linebacker. Zaven Collins has moved back to linebacker. He's still an edge rusher. With Baron Browning in him, going to get a lot of snaps because they're probably their most dynamic guys off the edge, outside of, again, their top 2. B.J. Ojulari, I think he tore his ACL or something. It was really bad. He had a really promising season in 2023. He hasn't played since, and I think he's still not even back. Yeah. Knee was moved, Pulis. Again, still recovering from that ACL injury. I hope he can be back. Hopefully by week 5 for any Cardinals fans. Outside of that, though, the secondary is a little bit different. Max Mullen was a pretty fun rookie here. Gary Williams is my favorite cornerback. Again, that isn't on a team I like. That's probably the best way to put it. Sean Murphy-Bunting is also on the PUP list. Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker, one of the best safety duos in football. Again, they've been together for now 6 years. 6th season, I think, now. Will Johnson's also there at corner. He'll probably be their number 1 guy, at least on the boundary. Maybe not exactly to start, but he'll definitely get the development to do that. Chad O'Reilly and opportunity by Chad O'Reilly and Blake Gillikin wrap things up with Aaron Brewer, not the guy on the Dolphins, there at long snapper. All right, for the Saints, Spencer Rattler is getting the start. He beat Tyler Shough in quarterback battle. He again went 0-6 last year as a starter. I mean, he didn't look terrible in Week 18. Kamara, I want to adopt him in fantasy. I hope he goes for 1,000 yards this season. Probably his last opportunity to do so, considering he turned 30. I'm not going to get into that, though. Kendrick Miller's going to get a lot of opportunities, maybe even Devin Neal. Velus Jones Jr., that's interesting. He's now a running back. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed returning after the injury, and then Brandon Cooks also there, who's washed, and he also traded for Devon Vele, and then Trey Palmer coming over from the Bucs. Bud Means on IR. Mason Tippin's also their last receiver. Juwan Johnson at tight end. This offensive line is different. Kelvin Banks is in at left tackle. Trevor Penning, who I still don't know how he's still on the team, is out. Dylan Radunz is going to start their left guard. He's more of a journeyman after not playing the greatest with the Titans. Eric Coy, again, just same offensive line from last year. Again, and then Talisi Fago going into year 2. Defensively, Devon Gotcho's new nose tackle. Thank God. I think they got rid of Nathan Kalen Saunders, right? Nathan Shepard still on the team is crazy. Brian Brzee is their best pass rusher, though. I'm honestly going to say that right now. Chase Young not playing. Who cares? We'll probably get traded deadline. Field Diggs is also there. Carl Granderson is technically their number 1 pass rusher, but last year he didn't exactly exude that, despite the numbers not being absolutely awful. But the pressure rate still wasn't great. Pete Warner, a solid guy. Demario Davis again has been great. Secondary's just, I don't even want to talk about it. Justin Reed's the guy who's going to hold the fort down. Blake Ruby, Kai Kroger, I love that name, and then you also have Zach Wood at the long snapper position. In terms of how this game's going to be, it's going to be bad. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't see it being like, again, we talk about the New Orleans game last year when they played the Cardinals. I don't see it being that big of a blowout, again, in the other direction. But it's just not a good game, guys. I don't know why you sit down and watch this game. It's just not going to be good. Who knows, goes to overtime or something, but it's going to be boring. It's just a simple truth with that. With that said, though, who do I think is going to win this one? Of course, I'm going with the Cardinals, guys. Why would I pick the Saints? Again, if you're a Cardinals team, similar to the Dolphins, you should expect to beat the worst team in the NFL. I say they win this one, I don't know, 30-17. There's your final score. And now let's get over to some more interesting games, you could say, in some ways. Our next game is an in-division battle that had a really, really ugly finish a couple years ago. Not finished, the game itself, in 2023. But we got the Bengals and Browns playing in week 1 again. Again, the Bengals are notorious under Joe Burrow for being absolutely dog shit in the first couple weeks of the season. Who knows? Maybe that narrative continues. But this is a Bengals team that has a lot of pressure on it, considering they have now made the playoffs or been back to the AFC Championship since 2022. This is a defense last season that was absolutely awful. No, I'm not getting into that. I don't think they were actually that bad, but they were still pretty bad last year, at least functionally. See if they can be better this year. They're definitely more talented, hopefully. But yeah, that's an offense last year that went absolutely bonkers as well. See if they can kick off the season same way. Meanwhile, for the Browns, we all know about the quarterback competition. Everyone's like, oh, Shedeur Sanders, play him. Guys, Shedeur Sanders is a third-string quarterback right now in the NFL. Please accept that. Joe Flacco's their starter. Maybe Dylan Gabriel gets in at some point. But with that said, this is an offense that did not get better throughout the offseason, and this is a defense that did not get better throughout the offseason. But they gave Myles Garrett all that money, and hopefully they play a little bit better than last year, maybe with a more continual, I don't think that's a word, approach from that offense. Anyway, though, like I said, they did meet in 2023. They meet every single year. The Bengals got swept them last year. DTR freaking started against them. Of course, they won those games. But we're going back to 2023 when Deshaun Watson was, first year actually truly starting. He obviously got injured in Week 10. But in that game, the Browns defense just absolutely just annihilated the Bengals offensive line, just the Bengals in general. And they won that one 24-3. I hope a similar game happens. Anyway, though, this game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS. Not CBS. My bad. Fox. I forgot they did that. It's going to be on Fox. You can watch it on Fox 1. That's a new streaming service for Fox, as well as NFL Plus. Outside of that, though, the weather in Cleveland is supposed to be better than New England, or better than Foxborough. It's going to be sunny. Same temperature, though, and then a little bit more wind, considering it's on the lake there, or river. I don't know. Something like that. But again, we look at who's announcing this game. We do, in fact, have Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnston, and Allison Williams. I don't know who that is. Who's Allison Williams? New announcer. All right, cool. She's like, oh, I know who this is. All right, that makes sense. That's actually kind of cool. Anyway, though, for the map, we're going to look at this orange area. Yeah, it's a C game. Not much of the country's getting this thing. For the Bengals, though, offensively, the only big difference is Andre Iosivas will probably get a little bit more of a target share. Probably not, though. Samaje Perine again is a backup there. Chase Brown has a lot of hype. O-line-wise, Lucas Patrick's coming in. They got rid of Alex Kappa. Dylan Fairchild's a new left guard. Amarius Mims is coming into year 2 looking to play better. And, yeah, that's about it. Defensively, what do I talk about? Shamar Stewart didn't really win the job as their number 2 edge rusher, which is really concerning because they have no one else who can really do anything because Miles Murphy's a complete bust. Joseph Osai is a brick, and Cam Sample is, at best, a rotational guy. D-line, interior defense line, I actually like a lot. I think TJ Slayton will be a boring but solid player, and then again, BJ Hill will probably do a little bit more. And Chris Jenkins and McKinley Jackson will get in there as well. More Chris Jenkins, though. With this linebacking core, Demetrius Knight, again, draft pick there as well as Barrett Carter. I hope both of those guys get some rotation minutes, snaps, because they're both pretty good. Logan Wilson, Oren Burks round out the linebackers though. Secondary, nothing. They literally did absolutely nothing to this group. It's just simple truth there. Dax Hill, not very good. Last season, Cam Taylor-Britt's the number 1 guy despite the numbers not being great for him. And then you got DJ Turner there as well. I'm torn on Cam Taylor-Britt, to be honest with you guys. You also have Geno Stone in year 2 with, on the contract, and Jordan Battle also there. Evan McPherson, Ryan Gricko, round that out. For Cleveland, again, Joe Flacco getting the start there. Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson in the backfield. Quinshon Judkins is out because he's a bad boy. David Bell is out for this one as well. Isaiah Bond is probably their second best receiver. Jamari Thrash, Cedric Tillman, get out. Despite the Cedric Tillman actually being a solid slot option. Jerry Jeudy coming off a career year. We'll see what he can do. David Njoku again at tight end. Harold Fannin will get some snaps to 4th round draft choice, if I'm not mistaken. Or was he? Yeah, he was 3rd round. Okay. O-line's the exact same as last year, except they're all healthy, which is good. Again, DeJuan Jones, the only change, and that's not great. Jedrick Wills is gone also, if you didn't realize that. It's old, though. These 4 guys are old. Ethan Pokick is still a really good center, though. He's probably still the highest performing guy. Joe Bitonio, you're definitely up in there in age, though. You're a little bit worse of a player. Myles Garrett, arguably the best defensive player in football. Malik Collins, Mason Graham, again, 4th overall pick there, or 5th overall pick there. Alex Wright, again, is their number 2 edge rusher. Joe Tryon coming over from Tampa. Mohamed Diabate coming off a pretty decent season. Carson Schlesinger will start. Then Bush also there. J.O.K. is on the PUP list. He's their best defensive player outside of Myles Garrett, though. Secondary, the exact same as last year, outside of the fact that Martin Emerson is out the year because he tore his ACL or his Achilles, something like that. So that is a big hit to this defense. Cam Mitchell will have to step up as he goes into year 3. Andre Schmidt, good way to spell it, or Schmidt, I don't know how to pronounce it. Corey Borquez and then Rex Sonaria. He's definitely UDFA from somewhere. He's definitely a rookie, though. Outside of that, though, this game, I'm not going to be honest, guys. I want to put it in boring, but I actually think it'll be decent. Just because I see it being competitive, even though I think again, this will be a game that I don't see. It's just more of a struggle than anything, and I think it will be at least engaging enough to call it decent. For what the actual final score will be, who really knows? I'm going to say the Browns, though, pull off the week 1 upset, considering how badly the Bengals have struggled in week 1. I'm not getting burned again, I picked them last year in week 1 for the freaking eliminator game, and they absolutely sold against the Patriots. Again, absolutely terrible game. I'm going to say the Browns in this one, 17-10. Yeah, that's what I got there. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that game. Up next, we probably have the lowest profile game of the week between 2 quarterbacks that have a lot to prove coming into this season, that being Bryce Young of the Panthers and Trevor Lawrence of the Jaguars. I'm a lot more high on Bryce Young, maybe because I placed something on him winning MVP this year. But outside of that, yeah, this is a game that's what the quarterbacks are like. They have 2 running backs they have 1 running back in Chuba Hubbard that's coming off a good year. Jags have no idea what's going on there as well. But for this game, there's a lot of just tension that I feel with this one, just because again I think how close these teams are in a lot of ways. Neither team is coming off a good year at all by any means. The Panthers are definitely looking a little more optimistic. I guess the Jags are too with the Travis Hunter trade. Absolute haul for him. He will making his debut. Who knows if he's playing both sides of the ball? Some report will probably come out of that, but I don't really care. Outside of that, though, again, Liam Cohen, the head coach for the Jags, new guy there. He's an absolute clown. He'll probably get fired by the end of the year. But, yeah, that's what's going on there. The last time these 2 teams met in Duval, I think was 2017. Can't really tell you any other time they met. And then what were we going to say, 2019? 2019, right? Because they played in 2023, too. I can't remember that game, though. Panthers, Jags history. Let's see what we got. It was 2023. Oh, that was actually such a bad game. That was the game that David Tepper threw the drink on him. Yeah, and then 2021. That game was 2019. That was the CMC game where he hurdled what is it called? The Jaguars in that one. Anyway, though, this game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox. The Fox 1 as well as NFL Plus. Announcing it will be, who? We got Chris Myers, Mark Schultz, and Jen Hill. Yeah, that's not good. This is definitely a C game. The map reflects that with it being in light blue. None of the country's getting this one. It's probably, again, no one really cares, to be honest with you, about this game. Oh, yeah, the weather. It's going to be hot. 87 degrees, scattered thunderstorms. Not good weather. Also, some wind as well. For the Panthers, though, I almost said Duval. I don't know why it goes this. I got to change this hyperlink. Panthers. I don't care what their schedule. I haven't meaning to do that for a while. But for the Panthers specifically, again, offensively, Ted McMillan, the number 8 overall pick, is coming in. He is their best receiver. He's their only guy that trust. Thank God they re-signed Hunter Renfrow. Thank God, bro. He's the guy, again, Adam Thielen, bro. You're gone. Hunter Renfro's the dude. Xavier Leggett, he's got a lot to prove. David Moore is a decent option. Jimmy Horn is also there. Jalen Coker is out for a while. Jatavion Sanders, Tommy Tremble at tight end, though. Cam Aquano is doubtful. He didn't have the greatest season. He's still trying to prove himself. Brady Christensen's the backup. Rest of the O-line's the exact same as last year, with Austin Corp being an absolute monster. Giving the multi-million-dollar men by a lot. And Damian Lewis and Robert Hunter there as well. Tackle at guard. We look at this defense. What's changed? Not that much, except Derek Brown is back after, again, being injured after a historic 2023 season, even on a 2-win team. Bobby Brown's coming in at nose tackle over from Los Angeles. Christian Roseman, Trevin Wallace at linebacker, and DJ Wanham and Patrick Jones will be the really true guys. They got 2 rookies, Nick Scorington, who I like a lot. They took him pretty high. What was it? Yeah, 51. I didn't know if he was that good because he's a little bit stiff in terms of his bend, but outside of that, he's pretty good. Prince Noonan is also there. I like him a little bit more than Nick Scorington. It really doesn't matter, though. They're both going to be doing the same thing. Getting up to quarterback D.J. Johnson, I just don't know why they pick him that high in the 3rd round. It was like, yeah, that was just not a good pick a couple years ago. Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, Shaw Smith-Wade, hopefully J.C. Horn can play more than 10 snaps this season. Nick Scott, Trayvon Moe right there at safety, and then Ryan Fitzgerald, Sam Martin, J.J. Jansen round out the rest of the thing. Ryan Fitzgerald being a rookie kicker. For Duval, their running back room is an absolute SHIT show. One of these 4 guys could be a starter by the end of the season. Tank probably being the favorite, though. Travis Etienne is going to have to have a massive season if he wants to stay on this team. Probably, I don't know. Bershal Tuin is definitely the more high-profile back out of all 4 of these guys, and then LaQuinton Allen is just an absolute monster. Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter. Again, we don't know what the question is. Travis Hunter going to play both ways. I don't really care. I'll see how he plays. Tommy Brown's also there. Parker Washington's also there. And again, you also got Tim Patrick coming over in a trade. Brennan Strager's tight end. He's got a lot to prove. Johnny Mutt is their blocking tight end. O-line is the exact same as last year, except Patrick McCarry at left guard, right guard. Robert Hainsey there as well. Again, if you didn't know. Brandon Scherf, who has been their, right guard, if I'm not mistaken, since, 2021 maybe when he came over? Or it was 2022, I think. He retired. Anton Harrison coming, I think, into his 2nd season. Outside that for this defense, Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, Vontae Edwards are duo. D tackles are the same exact thing. Kalen Saunders was signed. Mason Smith was a draft pick. Foyce Luokong, Devin Lloyd, and Dennis Gardick are a very fun linebacker group. Interesting to see how Travis Hunter plays corner. Jerry Jones will get the start, though, with Tyson Gamble trying to prove still be a really good player. Jordan Lewis also there at nickelbacker, with the safeties being not great. Cam Little, he hit the 70-yarder in preseason. See if he can do that this week. You got Logan Cook there at punter, probably the best punter in football, and then also with Ross Matajic at long snapper. In terms of how good this game is going to be, I think it's going to be boring. I'm going to be honest, guys, I couldn't give a rat's you-know-what about how this game goes. Where is it? Well, I kind of do because I kind of picked Bryce Young to be good. We're the Panthers. But honestly, guys, I see this game being a little bit more on the not great side. So not an awesome game. But again, I think there's still a shot it'll be decent. So it's probably a little better than these 2 games, but still not great. For that reason, who do I pick to win this one? I don't know. I'll say the Panthers pull this one off. Let's say they win this one 25-21. Sure. Bryce Young throws a couple of touchdowns, probably a couple picks for Trevor Lawrence, that is. And yeah, that's what I see how this game's going. But let's be honest, guys, who actually cares about who wins this? Our next game on tap is the best game we've gone through so far. I'm telling you that right now. We have the high-flying, or just don't even care, Buccaneers, 4 straight NFC South titles against the Atlanta Falcons, who are not even cautiously, they're an optimistic team going this year. I'm not gonna say they're like the Bears every year where they're over the moon, but they're definitely on the optimistic side. I hope they're definitely expectations aren't met this season because they're into their 1st-round pick. But yes, this is a fun matchup. Baker Mayfield coming off the best year of his career, through a career high 41 touchdowns, did throw 16 picks though. He was an absolute just crazy season from him last year. They again won the division despite only winning 10 games, which isn't some crazy win total. But again, this division, who really cares? This is the best team the Bucs have had in a long time. I'm gonna argue that it was better than that 2021 roster going into that season. Outside of that, though, defensively, they did make some pretty decent big changes, as well as having some guys coming into their 2nd season or even 3rd seasons that are expected to have monster seasons, all pro even type as well. So, Bucs have a lot of good things going for them. For the Falcons, though, this is a team that's not won a playoff game since Matt Ryan and the Falcons' 20-3 choke. I'm joking. It was 2017, I think, was the year they beat the Rams. In that wild card game. But it's a team, like I said, that has not made the playoffs. They had a shot to make it last year, but again, they lost to the Commanders in week 17. Didn't get it done. But Michael Penix, a lot of people were high on him. I'm still not really high on him at all, but who knows what he'll do. But again, a lot of questions there. The rest of that team is pretty solid, though, overall. Again, they made them some big moves in the draft to get some edge rushers, which, again, has been a desperate need from them, really ever since 2016. Outside of that, though, last time these 2 teams played, again, they play every year 2 games. But I think what was the one? Am I just not remembering these two teams playing last year? Oh, yeah, they played in that crazy Thursday night game here last year. Kirk Cousins, when he was still their starter. Crazy what a year difference makes. But, again, they won that one 30-39. Kadir Hodge, last touchdown. Kirk Cousins broke the passing record with 502 yards, if I'm not mistaken, on that Thursday night game. Then they played in Tampa in what week? Oh, yeah, week 8. I think Baker threw like 4 touchdowns or something. No, I think it was Kirk. Whatever. The game's going to be at 1 o'clock on Fox. Fox 1, Fox Sports, and NFL Plus, and it's the Fox Sports app. Are your ways to watch this game streaming-wise. In terms of, again, who's announcing this game, you got Kenny Albert, Jonathan Wilson, Megan O'Leary. Again, classic Atlanta home team week 1 thing. Announcers. All right. Map-wise, it's in green. Again, you got at least some parts of the country watching this one. Again, Oklahoma for Baker, and then, again, Southeast. Bucks lineup, again, big changes. Ducky Irving, he is expected to have a massive season. Rachaad White's also there. Chris Godwin's out for this one. Again, he's still recovering from that injury he suffered in Week 7 last year. Tez Johnson will be getting the start. After that, though, Sterling Shepard will get a lot of targets as well. Jalen McMillan, if you didn't know, is on IR. Again, he was their depth there receiver. Amika Buka, the first-round pick, is expected to have a monster season. We'll see what he can do in his rookie campaign. Cade Otton's the tight end coming off his best season. Tristan Wirfs will be out. Charlie Heck will get the starter left tackle out to that. Same offensive line as last year. Grant Barton, again, like I said, the center, who's expected to have a big season. But losing the best tackle in football or best offensive lineman in football probably isn't a good thing. Those are 2 big losses for them. Defensively, though, Kalijah Cansey, he's also expected to be one of those guys that has a monster season. Vita Vea is questionable. Greg Gaines is a solid pass rushing nose tackle, though. Logan Hall is also there. Yaya Diaby is expected to be a pretty good supplemental guy who's solid as a rookie. Hassan Reddick, though, again, is expected to do a lot. We'll see if he can actually meet those expectations. Chris Braswell coming into second year. Hopefully he's a little better. David Walker, the draft choice, who's better than all 3 of their rotational edge rushers, is injured right now. Levante David, again, that old reliable Hall of Fame level guy there. And then you got Cerveka Dennis, who's basically just another one of the guys they've thrown next to Levante. For the secondary, nothing really changed. Zion McCollum just got a massive extension. Jacob Parrish moves in at nickelbacker. Christian Eisen, Benjamin Morrison, both being out of pretty big losses. But outside of that, it's a pretty similar group that we saw last year. Charlie McGoffin, Riley Dixon, and Evan Deckers across the special teams unit. Then we move over to Atlanta. Like I said, Michael Penis is making, his NFL season debut, whatever. Bijan, Tyler Alligator are also there. Again, basically, Wright McCloud coming off a big season. It's the exact same offense. Will Kyle Pitts actually do something? I don't really know. It's the exact same offense, guys. Elijah Wilkinson, though, moving in with Cale McGarry. Is he out for the season? Yeah, oh my God, that's not good. I know he's injured, but yeah, I kind of forgot that happened. So yeah, that's a big loss from Elijah Wilkinson there, right tackle. Chris Lindstrom, still one of the best guards in football, though. For this defense, Ruka Worrell coming really disappointing. Rookie season will get the start here in Week 1. Zach Harrison and David Onyemata also there at the interior defensive lineman spots. Leonard Williams comes over from Buffalo. Could be their probably number 1 guy for a little bit. Arnold Ibiki beat Jalen Walker out for the starting job. He's not better than him, though. James Pierce also there. Kaden Ellis, Devon Diablo also there, linebacker. Secondary-wise, Xavier Watts moves into free safety. Jordan Fulber comes in. DeMarco Helms is out. But, again, same exact group as last year. Outside of, again, a lot of rookies. Billy Bowman is also there. They have a lot of fun guys here. Young Cooper, Bradley Pinion, Liam McCullough are the special teams unit. And for how I think this game's going to go in terms of how good it's going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be a must-watch. I rarely put a game that isn't in the spotlight in here most of the time. But I honestly think this game will be high-scoring. It'll be a lot of fun to watch, and some ridiculous stuff's going to happen. I don't know if it'll be as good as last year, because that was definitely one of the best games of last season overall, even though, again, in hindsight, it really wasn't. I still think it'll be a really fun game. Again, you got to pay attention to that one in the early window. We look at this final score, though. I'm actually going to pick the Bucks again until the Falcons make the playoffs or something, and then my prediction of them, until they can't possibly get the number 1 pick, I am going to pick them to lose every single week. It's going to happen. I have to. That's the only way that's going to work. I'm joking. But I'm saying the Bucks win this one close, 34-31. It should be a fun game to watch. Hope it's high scoring. Hope there's a lot of turnovers and just crazy stuff that happens. Moving on to Fox's big game this week. And again, it's in the early window, so it's not like the game of the week technically, but it is Fox's featured game this week. It is the New York Giants with Russell Wilson, their new starting quarterback, heading into Landover, Maryland, take on the Commanders team that is coming off an NFC Championship appearance. Rookie sensation Jane Daniels, similar to RG3, had an absolutely insane season last year, capped off again by that Hail Mary they had in Week 8. Not really capped off, but that was what highlighted it. Commanders have very high expectations coming in this season. They, again, were massive overachievers, winning 12 games last season. But, again, they did get better this offseason, actually by a decent bit, so that is good for them. But, again, losing their playoff Demon and Diamond Brown is a little bit of a loss. Also had some pretty bizarre moves in the running back room as the preseason ended there as well, kind of shake things up. But outside that, this is a team coming this season that still has those expectations. And, again, they're somewhat justified in some ways, even though, again, we think of them being very overachieving. Giants, on the other hand, they were a meme last year. We can go on any way you want. Brian Dable and Joe Shane are an 0-4 start away from being out the door. But Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback, is getting a lot of cries to be the starter. Don't know if that's really the right choice as of right now. But the rest of this offense is very similar to last year. The question is if they can actually be any better. Defensively, though, they made a lot of good changes, and I think this is a group that can be very, very good as well. Despite all that, these two teams coming to this game have actually a pretty decent things going around. Again, I understand that Commanders swept them last year. Both those games were pretty competitive. Commanders knocked out the Giants 27-22 in Week 9. I think it was a little bit of like a more of a garbage time thing for the Giants. But in Week 2 they played, and the Giants scored 3 touchdowns and still lost to a team that didn't score any touchdowns. I mean, the Commanders, I think they 7 field goals, something ridiculous like that. Anyway, though, yeah, that was a pretty bizarre game, but probably see it somewhere. I want to be honest with you guys. But for the weather in this one, should be fine. 75 degrees, a little bit of wind, mostly sunny. You can't really complain much at all. Pretty much perfect for this battle. We look at the announcers. Like I said, it is Fox featured game, so you got Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady in the call with Andrews and Tom Rinaldi. I almost mix those guys, girl and guy up. Wait, but yeah. Those are your reporters for this one. Looking at the map, because it's the biggest game of the week, again, I guess it should have the most coverage, which it kind of does. Again, as you can see, a lot of the country's getting this one. But anyway, for the Giants starting lineup, Ross again is a quarterback. James Winston technically the third string guy. Tyron Tracy, again, get Cam Scatterbo some carries, please. Malik Neighbors again, absolutely a monster there. Wanda Robinson, I guess, is gonna be their slot. Darius Slayton will be on the wide receiver probably. Not Y, Z. There we go. Jalen Hyatt's also there. Bo Collins is there too. Andrew Thomas is doubtful, so James Hudson, solid backup, is going to play there at left tackle, considering Joshua Zudu is on IR. Marcus Mabo, the draft choice, is the backup right tackle for now. Jermaine Illuminor, though, same offensive line. Greg Van Roten is coming in, but John Runyon started for them last year. He was acquired in free agency from the Packers. And then Evan Neal is not good. Defensively, same D-line from last year, except Darius Alexander expected to get a lot of snaps. Roy Robinson-Harris, though, is technically starting right now. Brian Burns is their number one edge rusher. They brought him in, of course, in that big trade last year with the Panthers. Kayvon Thibodeau's going to start. Abdul Carter, the number 3 overall pick, is expected to have a fun rookie season. I don't expect him to be completely consistent. No, that's a good thing to preface. Again, despite Kayvon Thibodeau not being very good last year. Same middle linebackers as the past 2 years. Paulson Adebo, Deontay Banks, Drew Phillips in the secondary. A lot to prove out of all 3 of those guys. Paulson Adebo, is he worth the contract despite coming off the femur injury? Deontay Banks, well, you're not good. And then Drew Phillips, can you cap off a pretty solid? What can you do after a really good rookie season? They brought in Javon Holland. Tyler Newman, a pretty fun rookie season. Dane Bell will also be in there. And then Graham Cano, Jamie Gillen, and Casey Kreider across the same special team unit as last season for the Commanders. Offensively, again, biggest thing notable, Austin Ekeler gets started. Running back Corey Cross-Mary had such a good preseason, they decided to trade a very middling Brian Robinson Jr. So, yeah, we'll see how that develops. Jeremy McNichols is also there. Receiving room, again, we all know about the highlighted Terry McLaurin dispute. They gave him the contract. Don't know if he's completely 100%. We'll see how that works out, though, in terms of, again, being in football shape. Debo got brought in from the Niners. Is he really that good? We'll see. Noah Brown, there was their third receiver. Luke McCaffrey's also there. Jalen Lane, they drafted, or they brought in, I don't really know. Zach Ertz coming off career season, a career renaissance, see what he can do there. Larry Tunsil was traded for, again, a huge left tackle acquisition. And then, the rest of the offensive line outside of Josh Connerly Jr., who they just drafted, is the same group. For this defense, Dorrance Armstrong is going to be asked to do a lot. We'll see what DJ Wise can do after not a great last season. Jer'Zhan Newman's also there with Javon Kinlaw and Deron Payne, defensive tackle, who they just paid a lot. And Javon Kinlaw, $13 million per year over 3 years. Same linebacker duo as last year. They're both absolute demons. And Von Miller, I guess, he exists. Secondary, Trey Amos was drafted. I'm not a big fan of him. The rest of the secondary was basically the same as last year, except Will Harris is now in from the Lions. But Marshall Lattimore can trade traded at the deadline from last season. See what we can do there. And again, you also have Mike Sanders still with Matt Gay. Tressway leading the way. And Tyler out there, long snapper. How good do I think this game is? I think it's going to be entertaining. I see this game being competitive. A lot of back and forth. And a lot of uncertainty who actually is going to win this game. Which, again, is always a good thing. For that reason, I think the Giants are going to actually pull off the upset. They, most of the time, play well in Landover. There hasn't really been a game where I'm like, that was just not fun watching. But I still think there'll be parts of this game that'll be a little bit tense, where I think it definitely go the other way. Again, the Commanders are expected to win by a decent bit. I'm going to say the Giants win this one, though, 24-21 in a pretty entertaining matchup where you're like, yeah, the Giants, they're not bad. Like, there's actually something there. With that said, though, let's get to our other game, which kicks off CBS's doubleheader. Oh, baby, what a game we got here as we got the Steelers and the Jets. Whew. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers' return to New York after one season of just not very good football. But yeah, this could be Aaron Rodgers' last ride. This is the Steelers team. We all know that they're dying for a playoff win. They haven't had one since 2017. Mike Tomlin, we're over 500 sort of thing, or at least 500 since he came there. But yeah, That is your storyline for this game. They flop quarterbacks, sort of. Russell Wilson's not on the Jets, but the Jets are basically going in the season like, yeah, we probably won't be able to throw the ball well, but again, if we can run it good enough, I don't know, maybe we can win some games. Not a good formula in 2025. But yeah, that's a Jets thing. Pretty talented defense though. For the Steelers though specifically, again they brought in some guys. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a new quarterback. It's kind of like they're doing the same thing they've been doing for a while. Can we kind of just like teeter on? Maybe we get lucky or something. I don't really know if that'll be the case, but this week 1 match is definitely favorable for them. Also part of CBS's doubleheader, so this is the first game of it. Even though it's not great, again, there's a good storyline there. Game, though, like I said, it'll be at 1 o'clock on CBS. NFL Plus, Paramount Plus will be how you can stream this one. The weather for this game, you got 68 degrees, a little bit of wind, and partly cloudy. Nothing crazy. Announcing it will be Ian Eagle, new CBS actual announcer, J.J. Watt, and then you also got Evan Washburn on the sideline. So, again, Charles Davis got kicked, I don't want to say kicked out, but booted from that second position all the way down to, like, the 4th position in CBS's lineup. Anyway, though, we look at the map for this one. It's in red. A lot of countries get in this game because it is the national game. Not really much else to that. We look at the Steelers starting lineup. Aaron Rodgers is at quarterback. Oh yeah. Also, the last time these two teams played, I don't really even care. Like, screw that. Oh, it was week 7 last year. Aaron Rodgers got dunked 37 points on as they lost 37-15. Again, that being when he was on the Jets. But Rodgers quarterback. Jalen Warren's the new starter. Caleb Johnson, is he really that good? We'll see. DK though was brought in that trade. Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson are going to be asked to do a lot, though. Pat Fryer, Jonnu Smith, and Darnell Washington across a very crowded tight end room. They basically saved Connor Hayward to roster spot at fullback. Offensive line is the exact same as last year, except Troy Falconer is actually back and healthy. So I'm going to watch a lot of him this week. Defensively, well, I don't know. Derek Harmon's out. Again, I wasn't a fan of him as an NFL player, but we all know the story. So I'm rooting for him to be a good player. Please prove me wrong, but he's not playing this one. Isaiah Loudermilk will definitely get in the start, though. Keanu Ben, Cam Hayward there as well. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, a huge duo there off the edge. Nick Herbig is questionable, and then Jack Sawyer, the rookie, is also there as well. With Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, a linebacker, the dynamic duo. Malik Harrison coming over from Baltimore. Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey are both there at corner. Again, Darius Slay being Unk, and Jalen Ramsey, I don't know who's taking snaps to safety. Who knows what's going on with him? He's really just a star role guy at this point, though. Joey Porter is the other boundary guy, with Juan Thornhill and Juan Thornhill and Deshaun Elliott at safety. You got Chris Boswell, kicker, Corliss Waitman, a punter, and Christian Kuntz. I love that name. I'm joking. Long snapper for the Jets. Justin Fields starter. Tyler Taylor's rusty, so if he gets injured, they're kind of cooked. Braylon Allen hopefully gets actually some carries this year. Josh Reynolds brought in, even though he hasn't done anything in like 2 years. Alan Lazar took a pay cut to stay on this team, and then Mason Taylor, who I like a lot, as a tight end. Introduced fullback coming over from Denver. Olaf Shanu is going to really get a good shot this year. Ramon Neville was a high pick. He was my number 3 or I think it was like 5th overall prospect. Josh Myers comes over from the Packers. Am I right on that? Yeah, that's actually a good pick up there. John Simpson, Joe Tippmann there, also on the O-line. Defensively, well, Will McDonald was coming off a breakout season. Tyler Barron's their new rotational guy. Michael Clemens also there. I don't know what happened to Jermaine Johnson. Leonard Taylor's your second best defensive tackle. Don't know what they're trying to do with that. Quentin Williams is also there. Again, I don't know what it is with Aaron Glenn, but he really likes not giving good players playing time. It's very bizarre. Don't know who this dude is, but he's in balling and training camp. I didn't actually say what his name. It's actually the truth there. Jim and Sherwood, Quincy Williams also there. I don't know what happened to what's his name? Mosley, right? CJ Mosley. What happened to him? What? He retired? How did I not know that? Oh my god, that's just like that just like completely eluded me. Well, for the Jets specifically, like, that's not good. But Sauce Gardner, not a great year last year. See if he can bounce back. Brandon Stevens, their new other cornerback. Michael Carter is a nickelbacker. Andre Cisco, Tony Adams, a safety. And then you got Nick Falk, Austin McNamara, and then Thomas Hennessy. With all that said, how do I actually think this game's going to be? It's not going to be great. I think, though, with Aaron Rodgers out there, it'll be somewhat decent. I don't love this matchup really at all. I think it'll definitely be a little... No, putting in boring. I don't see this being a good game. For the actual final score, lowest scoring, I'm going to say the Steelers win this one 20-16. Steelers win this one 20-16. I see that as final score. And yeah, they get the week 1 win. Jets, too bad, I guess. Let's get into our later windows. Kicking off the late afternoon window, we do have a matchup of two, again, at least 2 regional games. This first one is a very intriguing battle as we got a second-year quarterback, Bo Nix, coming off a very pleasantly surprising rookie season against a quarterback that was picked number 1 overall. It is Cam Ward's debut. This was my eliminator pick, so unfortunately, Titans, Not gonna be the greatest game for you, at least the first 2 weeks. But anyway, Titans, like I said, they were the worst team in football last year. Will Levis memes, all that. He's not even playing this year, so you can't even do that. Yeah. But yeah, Cam Ward's the quarterback. He is nonchalant. He is fun to watch. He anticipates better than any quarterback in football. Yeah, Bo, you can't be doing that. But yeah, they made some very weird changes to the roster, which he's doing a little bit as well. So yeah, that's what's going on in Tennessee land. For the Broncos, though, like I said, very what is it called? Cautiously optimistic team. I mean, they got their absolute butts handed to them in the playoffs last season. So again, that's fair to say for them. But defensively, they look great. The rest of their offense is a little bit, we'll see sort of thing. But Bo Nix is coming into a second year. Hopefully, he doesn't scramble as much in this one. But that's what you got going on in Denver. These two teams have not played in a minute. I think the last time they played was 2022. I think that was in Tennessee. I think Titans won that one maybe 17-10. Might be off on that one. Right? I think I'm right. Titans Broncos. When was the last time you guys played? History. I think I'm running that right. Yeah, they played in 2020, and Derrick Henry was still on this team. But anyway, yeah, that's what kind of happened there. We look at what it's on. Again, Fox is the regional window this week, so it's Fox, Fox 1 as well as NFL Plus. Again, you need the regional window to watch it. Announcing it, though, will be Adam Mead, Mark Schiller, Christina Pink. Mark Sanchez, my bad. I forgot that's the duo now. 81 degrees, a little bit of wind, and mostly sunny. Pretty good weather overall, maybe a little bit hot. Not really, though, because it's Denver. It's in yellow, so again, actually a decent amount of the country's getting this game overall. Again, you got Miami for Cam Ward and all that stuff. Why is this there again? Let's think about this. Not RJ Harvey. Why would Mobile be getting this game? I can't really tell you. Let me think. Yeah, I don't really care. I don't know. For the Titans, Cam Ward at quarterback, Tony Pollard, Julius Chestnut in the backfield. That's bizarre. Kalen Mullings is a better player. Again, with Josh Pierce on there, that's why. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Elegant Ayomanor, as well as Van Jefferson and Shamar Dyke at receiver. Chika Conquo at tight end, and then their O-line is the exact same as last year, except they brought in Kevin Zeitler, who's an absolute monster. J.C. Latham. Hopefully, he has a more fun, more enjoyable second season as well. And Lloyd Cushenberry coming off the injury last season. For this defense, the exact, literally copy and paste defensive line from last year. Draymond Jones is looking at a better season. Arden Key is really their only true proven edge rusher, though. Cedric Gray, Cody Barnett, linebacker. You got L'Jarius Sneed, questionable, coming off a horrible season on his part. Jarvis Bradley, Roger Curry there also at corner. Xavier Woods and Amani Hooker, who just got an extension as well. They're at strong safety. You got Joey Slye and Johnny Hecker, as well as Morgan Cox across the special teams unit there. Not the Browns. Oh, we're on the Broncos. Never mind. For Denver, Bo Nix, quarterback. Jared Stidham still the backup, if you didn't know that. Jacob Thomas is going to start. He's probably going to have a Denver season. RJ Harvey, I hope gets some carries, though. Tyler Beatty's also on this team. Cortland Sutton is their number one receiver coming off his best career season. Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin also there, and Pat Bryant is going to get a lot of targets. Ingram, Adam Trautman there at tight end. Adam Prentice is the fullback. O-line is the exact same as last year. They're also really good. Defensively, no real differences here. Again, good things to note. Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper. You know what? Screw it. All these guys can get after pasture. Drew Greenlatt making his debut after not playing really much at all from the Niners last season. Will not happen this week. He will be out. Justin Strand will start. Pat Surtain, again, coming off PS2 after the Defense Player of the Year, as well as Riley Moss. Jaquan McMillan is getting a second chance. Jahad Barron not quite ready to start just yet. Brandon Jones and Talanoa Funga there at safety with Will Lutz. Jeremy Crawshaw and Matt Mitchell for any rounding things out there. For how this game's going to go, I think it'll be decent. I don't see this being some extraordinary game, but again, with the teams that you have, I think it'll at least be, again, good enough. For actually how the game's going to go, again, I have the Broncos winning by a decent bit. I'm going to say they actually win this one 31-13. So, again, the actual game is going to be boring. No, I think there'll actually be some things that happen. I see the Broncos defense really putting on Cam Ward, though, and then this offense really being methodical and moving the ball pretty consistently down the field. For that reason, again, I see the Broncos win this one pretty handily and hopefully with a lot less stress than, again, could happen. So, yeah, 31-13 Broncos, I have winning this one. Let's get to our next game, which should be an absolute ball. Our next game on tap is the NFC West battle here for Week 1 between two teams that didn't have the years they wanted to last year and made some pretty decent adjustments throughout the offseason to try to have a better season. Again, first we'll go with the Niners, who, again, a lot of people like a lot considering how favorable their schedule is, but that really doesn't matter if they can't get off to a good start against the Seattle team, who we'll talk about in a minute. But for the Niners specifically, again, very disappointing last season just for a lot of reasons. Specifically, they had everyone get injured. CMC, we'll see. But, yeah, Brock Purdy, he got a massive contract this offseason. He's really worth it. I don't know, yeah, but Kyle Shanahan, is he, again, great? We'll see. But anyway, he'll try to get this team ready to go. They still got a very similar team. Again, defensively, it's a little bit different. They lost a good amount of guys. And Brandon Ayuk is nowhere to be seen. So, yeah, that's what you get there. Again, they traded Debo as well. For the Seattle Seahawks, they won 10 games last year. Didn't make the playoffs. So what do? They traded their quarterback, and they signed Sam Darnold, who got a 35 touchdown season in Minnesota last year. See that good? I don't really know. Mike McDonald, my bad. We'll just kind of hand that over to, I think it's Cade Kubiak. I might be right on that. See what they can do with that. They brought in Cooper Kupp. They made some other changes on defense. Very similar team that we saw last year, though, outside of that. So, again, we'll see what happens there. But they're actually looking to, maybe contend for a playoff spot. Been a little bit of a teetering spot. Last year when these two teams played in Seattle, the Niners took care of business 36-24, but then they played again in, what was it, week. When did they play again? I just can't remember. Niners. Oh, it was in San Fran. Then the Seahawks upset them 20-17, sort of. But anyway, games will be at 4:05 on Fox. Fox 1, Fox Sports app. Not Fox Sports app. NFL Plus as well. Got to get used to saying Fox 1. All right. Joe Davis, Greg Olsen, Payne Maurer. So, again, Fox putting their second team on this game, which makes sense. It's a pretty good one. Map-wise, it's going to be in blue. Going to actually country getting this game overall. For Seattle, in terms of the weather, you get 67 degrees, a little bit of rain, a little bit of humidity. Pretty normal NFC West-esque weather. For the 49ers, though, CMC is questionable. That's why they brought in Brian Robinson. Isaac Guerendo's also there. Receiving-wise, Juwan Jennings, he wanted money. They gave him the money because he's really what they're going to be their only option. Ricky Pearsall, very promising rookie season for the most part. We'll see what he can do. Jordan Watkins being doubtful is a little bit questionable. Good one there. MVS, I don't even know how he's on this team. George Kittle, Luke Farrell also there. Kyle Schick, same old at fullback. O-line's the exact same, except they lost Sheila Moore. Womp womp. There we go. Defensively, Michael Williams drafted way too high, but he just more expectations for him. Nick Bosa, obviously elite there. Jordan, same thing at defensive tackle. What else do we see? D. Winters is their new little linebacker. Luke Gifford's their new sub linebacker. The secondary is fun. Ronaldo Green's going to get a really good shot this year. Diamond Leno had a really good season. Upton Stout's a new nickelbacker, which is also terrifying for me. Yeah, but like I was saying, Jair Brown, Jason Pinnock there at safety. They're bringing him in from the Giants. Jake Moody, Thomas Morstead, and you got John Weeks at long snapper. For Seattle, like I said, Sam Darnold was brought in on a pretty hefty deal to be their starting quarterback. Kenneth Walker not coming in for greatest year. See what he can do there. Zach Charbonnet is always going to be said to be there. No, he's better than him. Not really. He hasn't proven it yet. JSN is, again, their number one guy. Cooper Kupp, we'll see if he can stay healthy. Torrey Horn is definitely the number 3 receiver at this point. A.J. Barner, Elijah Royal, there at tight end. Again, he was a draft choice. Robbie Otts is the fullback, the O-line. Outside of Gray Zabel coming in, Jalen Suttle winning the starting job at center. Not much change. Defensively, Leonard Williams was actually so good last year. See what we can do there. Byron Murphy kind of inconsistent as a rookie, but again, he's a nose tackle. Not the end of the world there. Tyrese Knight is a fun guy to talk about. He's not a UTEP. He's an absolute huge hitter. I'm excited to see what I can see out of him. DeMarcus Lawrence also came in from Dallas. Boyo Mafe, Shannon Wells, who's out for this one as well. Derek Hall off the edge. And again, you also have Ernest Jones there at their, again, I don't even know. He's basically their will. We look at Reek Wallen and Josh Jobs will be the starters on the boundary. Devon Witherspoon also there. They brought in Darian Kendrick. And where is, what's his name? They got Chris Paul, right? They brought him in. Whatever. Kobe Bryant and Julian Love are the safeties. Julian Love coming off a little bit of an inconsistent year. And again, they brought Nick Amanawari pretty high because he's an absolute monster. Jason Myers, Michael Dixon, and then you also got Chris Stoll at long snapper. We look at how good this game will be. I think this is one of the games you're going to want to watch this week. Not specifically because I think it is the highest caliber of teams this week. I think this will be one of those games that will have a really fun finish. And just the game throughout, I think, will be paced out very, very well. And I expect it to be something that I'm going to turn the TV on for. Maybe we'll see. But, for this game specifically, I'm going to actually say the Niners pull this one out late, 27-24. I see it being a little bit of a higher scoring game that has a lot of good pace to it, like I said earlier, or just a couple seconds ago. I think it'll be a good game. 27-24 Niners is my, 27-24 is my pick. Niners in this one. And let's get to, maybe a little bit biased for this next one. And the second game, which it shouldn't be, this game should be on primetime, but the second game in the national window is the Texans and Rams. My Rams open up their season here against the Texans, which I honestly think is actually a decent matchup. Again, there could be a lot worse than this. But this battle specifically, I think we have the weather right. Again, we'll get to this in a minute. But back to this actually. There we go. This is a battle, again, between two teams that won their divisions last year. Both won playoff games and then got eliminated. Again, both the Super Bowl champs. So we get that as well. But again, both these teams have been in a similar spot the past 2 seasons. They might not have had the ideal start they would have wanted, again, especially with the Rams. But for the Texans specifically, After, again, the 2-2 start, again, they start 2-0, lost 2 straight. They kind of got their heads together. No, I'm going to think they were 4-1 to start, whatever. They had a good start to their season, then they kind of went 500 for a while. They got an easy match against the Chargers. Not really. Not the hardest team in the world against the Chargers in the playoffs. They showed up, played great defense, got the win, then they kind of just fell to the Chiefs in the divisional round. They have won playoff games in back-to-back seasons. A team that, again, a lot of people are liking, but they didn't have the greatest offseason whatsoever. They actually got a decent bit worse. And the fact that they have a really not good thing going on in the running back room, which we'll get to in a minute, isn't really giving me the highest vibes for them. But at the same time, back-to-back AFC South champions. We'll see what they can do, again, especially C.J. Stroud coming into year 3. For the Rams, all the questions are about Matt Stafford's back. Honestly, until he literally falls on the ground and doesn't get up, I'm not really concerned about that whatsoever. I think they're the most talented team in the not talented. I think they have the best overall roster in the NFL. This is a team that has been 3 games under 500 at one point the past 2 seasons. First team ever to make the playoffs up for both of those. They also won a playoff game last year. Only team to really take the Eagles really far at all last year. And the fact, again, that they come in a lot better than last year, improved, I think is a very dangerous sign for the rest of the league. And I think people they're really just sleeping on them. The fact that only one person had an ESPN's prediction had them going to the Super Bowl, I mean, it's not crazy, but kind of just tells you how many people are sleeping on them, especially with how many they had the Packers going there. With that said, though, this game's going to be at 4:25 on CBS, NFL Plus, and Paramount Plus. Announcing it because it is a pretty darn good game is Kevin Harlan, Trey Green, and Melanie Collins. When we look at the map, it is not much the country's getting it because, they of course had to put the other game in the same window, which I can't really argue with because it is a more viewership-inclined game. With that said, though, like I said, C.J. Stroud going into year 3. I still don't think he played really bad at all last season, but it wasn't really what he did as a rookie. Nick Chubb is the starting running back for the Texans in 2025. Nothing against Nick Chubb, but if he looks like he did in 2023 or 2022, I'm actually going to flip out. There's no way he'll do that. He looked washed last year. There's no way around it. Again, just because of the injury he suffered in 2020. Nothing really against him, but no, that can't really be happening. Is Joe Mixon freaking dead? What the hell happened to him? I really have no idea, but he probably won't play this year. Who knows? Dameon Pierce, yeah, he's been dog crap since 2022 or 2023, I think, something like that. No, it's 2022. Derek Ogunbowale, he can kick, I guess. Nico Collins is really the only guy that I'm worried about in this offense. Christian Kirk isn't even playing. And you got 2 rookies and then a guy who's somewhat fast and another guy who's kind of a bum at receiver because Tank Dell's still recovering on the PUP list from that ACL tear that took him out for the rest of the season in Week 16. Last year, Brax Berrios is out too. I mean, he's got a hot girlfriend, but other than that, what? Dolan Schultz on case over tight end. Jakob Johnson, a fullback, an offensive line that is absolutely dog crap. Ersan Ursary is just not an ideal first game for him. Just not. Laken Tomlinson's a decent left guard. Jake Andrews at Ingram. Yeah, this is going to be this just screams oh, God. This is going to be a rough game for this offense. I mean, Nico Collins is really the only guy that I look at. Again, Dolan Schultz is decent, but, CJ, bro, you're going to have to play out of your freaking mind. Obviously, though, this defense is extremely hyped up. They're number 1 projected in fantasy for a reason. They're absolutely great. They're just simple truth there. They got one of the best duos in the league, Daniel Hunter, and then Will Anderson, who's not better than Jared Verse. But interior D-line, I think, is a little bit susceptible against the run. I don't think either of these guys are great. Henry To'oTuo, Azeez Al-Shaair, though, and Christian Harris are a dangerous linebacking core, even though overall there's definitely a lot more risk than actual payoff with that group. Derek Stingley's one of the best cornerbacks. I honestly, screw it. He's the most talented cornerback in football. I don't really care what people say about that. Kamari Lassiter, and more I think about it, that was such a good, evaluation by me. No, I'm joking again. I mean, Derek Stingley also helps too. But Jalen Petrie, he's fun in the slot. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Kalen Booker, both at safety. Kyrie Fairbairn's kicker, Tony Townsend, and then Austin Berkman, the new long snapper. Yeah, this is a defense that I think will definitely give the Rams a little bit of fits. But hey, who knows what will actually happen. Stafford is ready to go quarterback. Kyron Williams, year 3 as a starting running back. Hopefully it's a little bit more productive than last year. Hopefully maybe breaks out a big run this week. Blake Corum getting his first shot as the backup. Jarquez Hunter also there. Puka Nacua, arguably one of the 3 or 4 best receivers in football. Devontae Adams comes over in free agency. They did get Cooper Kupp, as you just saw in the 49ers prediction there. Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington also their receiver. They kept Quanti Munfield, Darius Smith as a returner. Don't be surprised if he gets used a little bit on offense as well. Tyler Higbee's back and 100% healthy for this season. Terrence Ferguson is the exciting, high first draft choice for the Rams last draft. Colby Parkinson's also in this team, and Davis Allen. He'll probably get in there a little bit as well. Alec Jackson is expected to be healthy. Again, he's going to play this week. I'm not expecting him to be 100% for this one just because, again, the blood clot issue. Again, I'm not expecting some great game out of him, but he was absolutely phenomenal for them last year. G.J. Humphries is a very good backup, though. Rest of the line's the exact same as last year, except they did bring Coleman Shell in to be at center. Expect some injuries this week. That's all I'll say. For this also shout out to Rob Havenstein, bro. You've been on this team since St. Louis. That's pretty crazy. For this defense, though, where do I start? This is an absolute great group. Linebacker, they don't really care about it. I'm still pissed they didn't keep Chris Paul, but That's besides the point. They got a really scary guy in Jared Verse, as you all know. Byron Young and Josiah Stewart, again, who has been absolutely awesome, is there as well. Desmond Johnson won his job on the roster. Don't really know why they kept Leroy Murchison at that point, though. Poona Ford, though, is a new nose tackle. They brought him in from the Chargers. Again, you got Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk there as well. And then also outside that young front seven, the secondary is the exact same as last year. Kobe Durant is going to be playing nickelback, which I like a lot. Emmanuel Forbes is expected to start on the boundary with Darius Williams not expected to be there. Winter Lake, Cam Curl, Jam McCall, Cam Hitchens. It's an absolutely really fun group. Josh Accardi, Ethan Evans, and Alex Ward across the special teams unit as well for the Rams. How good this game is going to be for me. I think it's going to be entertaining. I don't think this Rams game is going to, again, honestly, guys, a lot of people think, oh, yeah, the Rams are a fun team to watch. They really weren't all that last year outside the game against the Bills. But I think that this is going to be a game that's going to be a pretty decent game. I just don't see how the Texans, if their defense doesn't play really well, is going to stay in this game for too long unless the Rams kind of hold them back. Because that just doesn't. Guys, CJ Stroud's going to be in for one this week. But for that reason, I'm going to see the Rams win this one. I think they're going to pull off a pretty darn big game. I'm not going to be too crazy with it. I'm going to say they win this one 28-18. But I think this will definitely be a game that this offense they play consistently. And that Texans offense is just, they're reeling to say the least. With that said, though, let's get to our national games. There's two huge ones here. And the featured game on Sunday, before we get to the big one, is a really, really good battle. CBS's doubleheader game. Lions and Packers, NFC North Division. Huge brawl. This game's going to be fun. Lions, again, the big question with them is obviously with them losing both their corners. Are they going to be the same team? Probably not week one, but who really cares after that? All right, sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, they did lose again, Ben Johnson for this offense. That'll be interesting to see here week one. But overall, still a pretty similar team. You could argue they're even better coming into this season than they were last year, especially in terms of health. But other side for the Packers, they're a very hyped up team. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think this is very similar to what we saw last year. Not actually really, but still, you get the point there. But for the Packers, again, huge trade with Micah Parsons. We all know about that by now, hopefully. That transforms his defense, like I said a couple times. But offensively, it's still kind of like, is Jordan Love that good? People are like, is he better than Matt Stafford? I'm pissed about that. But yeah, end of the day, guys, this is a team that didn't show up in the playoffs offensively last year, and they got embarrassed in a lot of ways. But they ready to take a next step, knocking off the Lions in week one. We'll see. Last year when they played them, they got swept. They lost in close one after the game week on Thanksgiving, 34-31. And then they didn't play well here on what is called week 9. The Lions defensively had a really good game. Offensively, they controlled the clock, and then their offense just didn't do much. 24-14 lost to them in that one as well. So we'll see what happens. I think they've lost like 5 straight even. It's like something ridiculous like that. They haven't won against the Lions in a while. But for the Packers weather, you got 61 degrees at Lambeau with 8-mile-per-hour winds, mostly cloudy. So overall, it's not the worst weather. In terms of, again, who's actually announcing, again, with it being CBS's doubleheader game, you got Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wilson. By the way, like I said, it's going to be on CBS, NFL Plus, as well as Paramount Plus. I think there's going to be a little bit of pregame, post-game, if I'm not mistaken, so you can be counting on that. As well, again, it's a national game. The whole country gets the game. We look at the Lions starting lineup. Jared Goff, quarterback. Jahmyr Gibbs, crazy season last year. Can he do the same thing? We'll see. I drafted him pretty high in fantasy, so hopefully so. David Montgomery's also there. Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, who, again, is expected to have a massive year. And also got Khalif Raymond with Isaac Tisella, who had a monster preseason there as well. Sam Laporta at tight end. Brock Wright's the backup. Taylor Decker. And then, again, big issue, lost in the offensive line. Graham Glasgow has to move to center with Frank Ragnow retiring. Christian Magany moves over to left guard. Tate Ratledge, the draft choice, is there right guard against Penei Sewell. He's pretty good. Defensively, Aiden Hutchinson returns from the fibula fracture. Marcus Davenport also there off the edge. Tyler Acey's impressed in preseason in camp. Alquan Muhammad is one himself a roster spot. Tyleik Williams, DJ Reader at defensive tackle with again same linebacking core. Again, Derek Barnes hopefully can actually tackle this year though. All those guys are healthy. There we go. Terry Arnold, though, with DJ Reed and Amik Robinson at corner. Again, the big the duo of Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph still roaming the deep parts of the field there. With Jake Bates and Jack Fox, as well as Hogan Hatton at the special teams spots. For the Packers, you got Jordan Love here at quarterback in year 3 as a starter. Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson are the backup, the running backs, and Josh Jacobs getting a majority of the carries. Jayden Reed technically is the wide receiver 1, but you're definitely see a lot of Matthew Golden. I think he's their best receiver at this point. Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, Savion Williams are there as well. Christian Watson is on the PUP list for who knows what. This guy, simply put, cannot stay healthy. Tucker Kraft, tight end. Luke Musgrave, not good, but he's the backup. O-line is the exact same as last year. There's just no change to it. Don't expect much different. Defensively, Micah Parsons, he's questionable just because of the fact he's not in football shape. He will not be used in any sort of true I'd be shocked if he plays more than 40% of the snaps in this one, to be honest with you guys. Expect some good passers packages with him, but nothing really much more. Lucas Van Ness, yeah, he's not good, but Rashawn Gary's still there. Colby Wooden and Devontae Wyatt are there. All I'll say is be a little bit patient with Micah Parsons these first couple weeks. Isaiah McDuffie, though, Tyron Hopper there as well. Edgerton Cooper and Quay Walker playing for a contract this season as well. Secondary-wise, Evan Williams is coming off a really fun rookie season. Xavier McKinney, though, probably one of the best safeties in football. Javon Bullard, Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, and Kamal Haddon in corner. You might see a little bit of Bo Melton as well as Carrington Valentine and Bo Melton, former receiver, moved the cornerback there. Bernard McManus, Daniel Willman, though, and Matt Orzik round out the lineup for the Packers. This game is, for me, I'm going to have to put it in one of the games of the week. Again, I understand that Micah Parsons isn't playing, but I see this game still being a really fun, really good game to watch. Again, it is deserving over the Rams and Texans for the national window. It really is. This is one of the better games on the schedule. Honestly, you could argue the entire season. I think it does deserve to be here. They don't play until Thanksgiving. I think pretty solid scheduling game there. Anyway, though, we look at the game itself. Who do I see winning this one? The fact that the Packers don't have Micah Parsons the whole game, and also the fact that I think that overall the Lions are a better team, gives me the influence to take the Lions, which I'm going to do. I'm going to say the Lions win this one. We'll say 26-20. I don't know if it'll be a game that goes to OT. I don't know if it'll be a game that'll be like completely competitive the entire way. But I'm going to say the Lions are able to hold on and control the clock, and they're able to consistently move the ball down the field and be good on third down. So that's what I'm seeing in this one. I'm saying that it's not going to be any sort of crazy game, but I'm saying they win this one 26-20 and get the job done to kick off the season for themselves. Now let's get to the game that again everyone's been waiting for. And yes, the headliner. The game that, it's the best game this week. Again, there's no way around it. It's the divisional round rematch. The battle of arguably the two best quarterbacks in football. They're not. Mahomes is better. But the two best quarterbacks in football. Two of the better ones. Lamar, first team All-Pro. Josh Allen, charity MVP. I'm joking. But again, both these teams are in very similar situations. The Ravens probably are an overall more star and talented level team. But it really doesn't matter because they haven't broken through at all. They made it to the AFC Championship against the Chiefs that one year. They blew it. The year that Lamar won a second MVP. The Bills, Mahomes owns Josh Allen. There's really nothing much else to that. But again, this Ravens team still made some pretty big moves offseason to get better. They extended some pretty big players as well. But at the same time, still in the same situation as last year. Got to figure it out. Bills, really like where they're going, obviously, but same thing. Figure it out. This is a big matchup that could obviously decide a playoff seed. We'll see if it actually does, though. Anyway, though, Football in America, pregame show starts at 7 for this one as well. Again, it'll be at 8:20, though, on NBC, Universo, Peacock, NBC Sports app, and all the other things as well. Anyway, though, outside of that, we got these two teams obviously played in playoffs last year, 27-25. Ravens destroyed them in Baltimore, though, in Week 4 on Sunday Night Football. So we'll see if that has anything to do with that 35-10 in the last year in the regular season. But playoffs, again, we all know, Mark Andrews dropped that pass, and that lost him the game, technically. Anyway, though, announcing it will be Mike Tirico, Chris Collins, and Melissa Stark. NBC's team, we know that. Buffalo weather. We, in fact, have 59 degrees, a little bit of wind, and, no. What are we doing there? And pure white clouds. It's a night game. Nothing much else to it. For the Ravens, though, Lamar is at quarterback. Derrick Henry coming into year 2 with the Ravens with a quiet 1,900-yard season last year. Justice Hill, Keenan Mitchell are the backups. Receiving options, DeAndre Hopkins was brought in Rashad Bateman trying to build off his best career season. Still wasn't actually insane, but still pretty good. Mark Andrews starting tight end. Isaiah Likely's out to Charlie Kolar get the backup reps. Patrick Redcard is out. O-line is the same as last year, except Andrew Voorhees is going to get some really good snaps in this one. Roger Rosengard again really trying to prove himself there at right tackle. For this defense, same defensive line, same edge rusher group, same linebacking core. Trent Simpson here in U2 trying to give it a second go at starting. For the secondary, the big changes are Jair Alexander coming in, who again, like I said, I want any guy to play one-on-one against Justin Jefferson. It would be him. Malachi Starks is the free safety, first-round draft choice. Kyle Hamilton got a massive extension because he's the best safety in football. Nate Wiggins is coming in year 2 trying to pop off, and you also have Marlon Humphrey there. Chidobe Awuzie was also brought in. Tyler Loop is the new kicker. Again, the biggest storyline for this Ravens team is if they can replace Justin Tucker. Who knows? Jordan Stout and Nick Moore also there at long snapper. For the Buffalo Bills, what do we got? Same running back room, one of the more fun ones to watch. Elijah Moore was brought in. Joshua Palmer was brought in. Keon Coleman in year 2 trying to prove to be the number one guy in the team. Khalil Shakir, not really that guy considering the production that he usually puts up, but still pretty good. You got Dalton Kincaid trying to prove himself to be a solid tight end. Dawson Knox is the backup. Reggie Gilliam is also there fullback. O-line is the exact same as last season. They're all pretty darn good. Defensively, though, nothing outside of, again, they brought in Joey Bosa. Landon Jackson was a draft pick for them. Both those guys will get a substantial amount of pass rush snaps. Shaq Thompson, Terrell Bernard, Dorian Williams, linebacker. They brought in Shaq Thompson. Matt Milano, again, is a little bit older now. Probably not the same player he was, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago. Tre'Davious White, I guess. He's doubtful, though. Maxwell Harrison, not a really good situation there. He is out for a while. I don't really know why, but he is. Jamarcus Ingram's there as well. Christian Benford, Teron Armstead, Teron Johnson round out the cornerback room with Cole Bishop. Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin at safety. Matt Prater is a new kicker with Tyler Bass on IR. For what reason? I do not know. Left hip groin. That's just not great. Brad Robbins and what is it called? Reed Ferguson there across the special teams unit. And then Brandon Codrington, second season as a returner. With all that said, though, we're getting close to the end here. What's the best game this week? It's obviously this one. Like, what else am I going to put? Like, it's you don't get much better than this game. So, obviously, it's in the games of the week. For how I actually see this game going, I think there's definitely a couple ways it'll go. It could be go the way the Ravens just completely take over and embarrass the Bills. That's one way. The Bills could, I guess, do that. Not really. I can see the Bills definitely controlling the game in some ways and make it harder on the Ravens to really get those quick plays. But at the same time, I do think the Ravens will be able to consistently move the ball, which I think will definitely help them a little bit. I'm going to say they win this one 35-31 in a really fun game. Yeah, that's those are your week 1 Sunday picks. See you for the Monday night one tomorrow, and a recap of all this. That's going to be coming out probably later tomorrow night. But yeah, enjoy a crazy week 1 Sunday, kickoff weekend.
And how it used to be when you think about it. And the ball slips out of Stafford's hands, and the ball is loose, and it's picked up by the Packers by Mike Daniels, and that is the all-time Christmas gift touchdown.
You can't hold on to the football trying to throw a pass.
You know? And then a defensive lineman, a reserve, the guy a backup, comes in and goes 43 yards with it.
Stafford, a guy who's used to him.